The top verified miracles with evidence that may prove God exists. Miracles are a physical manifestation of the supernatural power of God on display, often leaving verifiable evidence that points to the true and living God. In other words, if miracles are real and there is evidence for the miracle, then God is real. So naturally, miracles and healings are some of the most fascinating topics to many people all around the world. There are controversial miracles, such as the Show Me the Toes debacle, where at James River Church, it was claimed that someone's toe regrew after it was amputated years prior.
Kelly, who serves on the prayer team, told her that the Lord wanted to grow her toes back tonight. So Kelly had her take off her shoe, anointed where each of the toes would be, and they saw the toes begin to grow.
And that Show Me the Toes campaign started when James River Church refused to provide evidence of said miracle. And they still haven't showed us the toes. And there are lighthearted miracles that have given Christians memes for decades.
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more. I said I like women.
I'm not sure if he ain't gay no more. But there are also real miracles with verifiable evidence that we are going to cover today. Before we get into that, guys, my name is Ruslan. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you're new here, let me know in the comments. I tend to peek around there. I'd love to say hello. Hey, this channel exists to encourage, empower, and inspire you to live a life that blesses God. And I came to Jesus approximately 25 years ago through the door of apologetics, trying to have all of my tough questions answered. And I've been following Jesus ever since. I've also been serving in church for a long time. I've been on staff at a church. From 2015, 2020, I did music full time, and then I evolved into doing what we do now on this YouTube channel. And over that 25-year window, I've seen it all, and I've been connected and even a part of a lot of different streams of Christianity. I grew up Oriental Orthodox, more high church, Apostolic Armenian Church, but I've also been a part of everyone from the cessationist, frozen chosen Baptist crowd, all the way to the crazy charismatics swinging off the chandeliers and believing for miracles at every single church service they have. And 25 years later, I still believe in miracles, but I also love evidence. And that brings us to our very first miracle that we're going to talk about that was captured on VHS video many years ago. And I actually know someone, had someone on the channel that was connected to this person and knew them before and after the miracle. The curious story of Delia Knox, healed in a totally unexpected way after not being able to walk. Delia Knox was bound to a wheelchair. She was a part of the worship team, and every Sunday a van would pick her up to get her to church. And she remained faithful despite her disability until she was miraculously healed and was able to walk again. And this was captured on video. Here you see Delia Knox come to the front in her wheelchair of what appears to be some sort of revival or healing service. The folks in the front proceed to pray for her for quite a while. And you could see that she's clearly emotionally impacted by the prayer. Now, what's interesting about this is they continued to pray for her for quite a while. She continued worshiping Jesus for quite a while until finally something crazy happens. They start kind of stretching out her legs a bit. She starts mustering up what appears to be the courage to start walking. And after several more moments of worship, prayer, tears, she finally stands up. Now, you may think, okay, well, man, they're propping her up. This isn't real. This looks like one of those crazy things we saw on TV back in the 90s. And then, for the first time, she begins to take some steps. As you can tell, she's still not fully comfortable walking, but she's doing her best and she's being held up. And then the steps get stronger and seemingly stronger. And I know what you're thinking. These sorts of events happen. Adrenaline is pumping. People are excited. What happened after the service? Well, she actually went on the 700 Club and several months later continued in not just receiving a healing, but fully walking in her healing much better than we saw in the footage earlier.
Over the following week, she says God began to strengthen her legs. 3 weeks later, she walked in front of her own congregation for the first time. Today, Delia leads worship at Living Word Christian Church in Mobile, where her husband is the pastor. She also dances with him every chance she gets.
The miracle is the journey, is not the moment. It's the journey of recognizing who God is. If he would have never healed me, I would still be pushing through to get into his face.
Oh, that's so well put. The miracle was in the journey. And the beautiful part is she went from walking very uncomfortably initially to just several months later, walking and dancing with her husband. How beautiful is that? Now, the next miracle is one that went massively viral, and it just happened this year. Some of you guys may or may not recognize who this is. This is Forrest Frank, one of the biggest things in music right now, definitely the biggest thing in Christian music right now. And I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Forrest a few times, and this is something that just happened to him several weeks ago, skateboarding in front of his house, and he broke his back.
What's up, gang? Fractured the vertebrae. Here's the video.
Oof. I never get comfortable looking at that. Pretty bad. So Forrest goes on to document his journey, the pain that he was in on bed rest, not being able to walk for weeks. And then as the story is going viral, he's writing songs about it. People are praying for him. Millions of people are praying for him. Something miraculous happens. Less than 2 weeks later, he was miraculously healed.
So I broke my back exactly 2 weeks ago. This is today, day 14. Got an x-ray and a CAT scan. It showed that I had multiple fractures, could not move an inch without excruciating pain. I wake up today, forget to put on my back brace, just start doing the morning. I pick Bodhi up, and then I realize, wait, I'm not wearing my brace. What is going on? I'm wearing my brace right now for precaution. Order an urgent x-ray, go get the x-ray. I have complete elam in my back. I have no
That's incredible. He then puts another update showing the before and after of the x-ray.
the fracture. So I'm gonna go back and forth a little bit. Make sure y'all can see that. Big. Or am I just making that up? That looks clean, that looks fractured. I think that's that right there, right? They're complete. Look at that, boom. Did you see a miracle? Was it just insane rapid recovery? Peace, God bless you guys.
So we discussed this on the channel. It requires approximately 6 to 12 weeks to recover from an injury like that on his back. And Forrest was back to normal, healed within 2 weeks. And towards the end of this video, we're gonna look at a verified healing that happened to our friend Wes Huff that some of you may have not heard about. But first, I wanna highlight a different guest I had, an interesting guest that has kind of went against the tide of everything that culture has been teaching with regards to sexuality and identity. This is our friend Lex Rennick. They have a fantastic ministry, and she actually went through the process of transitioning and living life as a man for quite a number of years. But then the Lord got a hold of her heart. She was attending a church in Las Vegas, and God completely helped her detransition back to her original identity of who God designed her to be. Now, some would say, wow, that's amazing. She transitioned to living in the opposite gender she was born into, and then after encountering Jesus, detransitioned to who God intended it to be. But that's actually not the healing. The miracle is what all of the gender-affirming care and procedures did to her body that was potentially irreversible.
So before I met my husband, I don't know if you know, but I had cancerous cells within my cervix. So I had to get them removed once a week. And the procedure, you have to have someone to drive you up and down the mountain because it's painful.
Right.
And so my father would drive me up and down the mountain. They kept telling me, we have to remove your cervix because of the years of testosterone. Trans guys have to get their cervix removed because it's no longer functioning. It's basically becoming barren because of the testosterone.
Because of the testosterone.
Yes.
And then is the cancer just random, or is the cancer connected to the testosterone?
I fully believe that it's connected. Every trans guy that I've ever known, even YouTube off in person, has had to get their cervix removed because if you don't have a period for years, your cervix is barren. Nothing's going on there. Yeah. So with me, I had a lot of pain that I was experiencing, and they were telling me you have to get your cervix removed. Like, we need to remove this from your body. It's becoming toxic. There's cancer in it. And before Nick and I got married, he's like, no, tell him we're going to pray about it for a year. And so we prayed for a year, and I just let it go. I didn't even want to go back. I didn't want to know if I had cancer. You know, I didn't want to deal with it. So when I went for my annual checkup to also tell them I'm getting off of testosterone, she kind of swindled me. And I'm like, I didn't sign up for a biopsy. I'm just here for a regular pap. And the doctor's like, look, I'm already going to be in there. Let me just look in there. And basically, if we see it, we need to take next steps.
The next step's probably being we need to take a cervix
Yes.
out. Wow.
Yes. So she looks in, she pushes the table away. I'm in a vulnerable position. My legs are in there. And she's like, I don't know how this is physically possible, but there's no sign of any cancer cells in your body anymore. Like your cervix looks literally brand new. She's an atheist.
And this is before you even get off testosterone?
This is before I get off testosterone.
So there's restoration. There's physical healing.
Like that.
Wow.
So when God said that he was going to renew my mind, he didn't just mean my mind, he meant my whole physical body because everything was completely renewed.
Wow. So Lex went from being on testosterone, going through the entire process, having cancerous cells in her body, to being completely healed. And the doctor, who's not a Christian, acknowledging that it looks like she has a brand new cervix. So it's really cool to hear about that miracle on this channel. And I'm gonna show you guys another miracle that Wes Huff shared on this channel from his own childhood. But before we get into that, guys, I gotta tell you about our brand new collection, actually called Miracles We All Believe. Even atheists, agnostics, and skeptics believe in 4 different miracles. Those miracles are that everything comes from nothing. Well, we believe that everything comes from Creator. They also believe that order comes from chaos. We believe that order comes from order. They believe that life comes from non-life. We believe that Jesus is alive and well and that life comes from life. And they also believe that consciousness, our ability to be self-aware and reason, comes from mindless matter. And we believe that consciousness comes from a mind. And all 4 of those miracles and their proper orientation is actually communicated in this shirt that is available for a limited time. That's another one of the everything comes from, and then we scratch out nothing and say Creator. And then we have the regular Miracles We All Believe. We have the black version, and this is available for a limited time that's expiring in just a few days here. So go to blessgod.shop, pick up some of the Miracles We All Believe collections, an awesome way to represent your faith, represent what you believe, a great way to start conversations, even be evangelistic out in public. You can get that now for a limited time, blessgod.shop. All right, I'll see you over there. Now, check out this miracle that Wes Huff shared on my channel several months ago.
Yeah, so just before my 11th birthday, it's actually coming up because it's February 8th is what in my household we call Miracle Day.
Wow.
Because on January 8th, I woke up and couldn't feel my legs. And on February 8th, I got out of that same year, so 1 month exactly to the day, I woke up, got out of bed, walked over to my wheelchair and sat down. I experienced what I truly believe to be a supernatural miracle. And it wasn't my parents or my family or my friends who used the word miracle. I had a scheduled appointment after that where I walked into the hospital, and it was the pediatric neurologist who said, "This is miraculous. We have no medical explanation."
And what was the condition that you had?
It was called acute transverse myelitis.
And do people start walking after they get that? Or what is the likelihood of them walking again?
Yeah, so it's not impossible, but it's related to the quickness of the condition. So it's related to things like Guillain-Barré or even MS.
Okay.
And so as far as my condition was concerned, the paralysis was instantaneous because I'd gone down for a nap and I woke up 15, 30 minutes later and I was paralyzed from the waist down.
Wow.
And so the slower the paralysis takes effect, the easier the recovery process is.
The more likely they can turn it around.
Yeah.
But yours happened fast.
Mine happened instantly. And so how it was explained to us was that because of how quickly it happened, that's the acute transverse myelitis, of the swelling on the myelin sheath at the base of my spine, which cut off the communication between my brain and my legs. Because that happened so quickly, the chances of there actually being some recovery, never mind a reversal, was slim to none.
Wow.
So the prognosis was like, you need to basically accept that you will be a paraplegic for the rest of your life.
Wow.
So there was some chance that I would be able to say walk with a walker, but the feeling in my legs would never actually recover fully. And they didn't think that I would walk again. Never mind do something like run.
Yeah.
So when I walked into the hospital and then I ran down the hall, they said, we don't know how to explain this.
And they used the word miracle.
They did use the word miracle.
So those are 4 different miracles and 4 very different situations at 4 different speeds of pace with 4 different theological streams of Christianity of the folks that were a part of experiencing these miracles. They don't all go to the same type of church or anything like that, yet God healed and God performed a miracle.